So I have a question for you and basically an invitation. How about we make our immigration system a private system? How about we turn it into a private entity? How about we allow the private sector, the business sector, to actually take over our immigration system? So let me make a case. But by the way, before I make a case about this process, let me highlight the obvious. Right now, what we have going on is not working. I've been in the country for over 30 years, and I've seen everything that's taking place on a yearly basis. Instead of getting better, it's actually getting worse. It's unexplainable. You know, if anybody was actually running this from a private perspective of being a private company, if the level of accountability is actually applied to government the same way that is applied to the private sector, a lot of people would have been fired by now. Oh, by the way, you know, a real company would have been out of business. The level of inefficiency, the level of ineffectiveness and inefficiency is something I never seen in my life. This is just, like I said, instead of getting better, it's getting worse. If you pay attention, and I don't know how you can potentially ignore what's going on at the border right now, you will have no choice but to come to the conclusion that what we are doing, what we've been doing, is simply not working. So here's what I want to propose to you. The reason why I'm suggesting that we should go private, because there's a lot of benefits for the country and a lot of benefits for the people that are trying to get into the country. The first one is actually speed. It's connected to the idea that we can expedite the process, we can make everything work a lot faster. There's a lot of red tape connected to this process. You have people that apply legally. By the way, I'm not promoting anything that would be an illegal way of coming into the country. You have people that apply legally. You know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, they're still waiting for an answer. At this point, those are the same people that say, you know what, I think that the only way that I'm going to get into the country is only if I do it illegally. So don't be surprised if our own immigration system is actually the cause and the reason as to why we ended up promoting some of the illegal influx. I'm not making it 100% responsible because people make choices and there's got to be personal accountability to that process. But what if we can make it faster? What if we actually have the capability to do a couple of things? In every country, had the ability to have an effective interview process and also have a port of entry at the country, because if we have the capability to understand who you are and timely, I'm talking about 48 hours tops, 72 hours tops, when you can actually do an effective background checks, we can connect every country to allow themselves to run it in a way that, again, business-like with that level of efficiency where we can actually identify the person. We know that anybody who's coming here for the right reasons will have no problems identifying themselves. Here's who I am. Here's my name. Here's the ID that I have. Here's my background. Here are the people that you can actually call for reference. So we can expedite understanding who the person happens to be. We can create a port of entry opposed to having this many people attempting to cross the border, creating a problem for every border state right now, and also creating a problem for them because they also are at risk of dying. Listen, there's no win-win scenario right now where we can talk about, or there's nobody who's winning out of this current situation. There's nothing but headaches and incredible amount of pain and financial losses everywhere. So let's make it more efficient, right? Let's make it faster. My point number two, this is the one that I don't understand. I mean, right now, you have emerging economies, emerging countries. So my point number two is connected to proactively going after the talent that we want to have coming into the country. Like I said, we have emerging economies, emerging countries. Right now, China and India are absolutely out there recruiting the best possible talent they can bring into the countries. Why are we not doing the same? Are we hoping for another Einstein to come into the United States? Are we hoping for another Elon Musk to come into the United States? How about we look for those guys? How about we go out there and by the way, again, in connection to what the current needs happen to be, out of every industry in our country right now, whether it's technology or medicine, science, you name it. We can go to these entities and say, who are you missing right now? How many engineers you actually need right now? You know, how many doctors, how many surgeons, how many, like we can literally go out there and bring the best possible talent. We can pre-qualify people, make it easy for them to come into this country. We are not doing a good job on that. By the way, I'm not just talking about the high level educated individual that happens to be out there. How about the labor force? Right now we have this weird situation with a lot of franchises, a lot of restaurants, a lot of small business owners are saying we can't get anybody to come to work, right? So it's a weird situation that's going on with employment and unemployment. Some people are looking for people, some people are claiming I can't find a job. So we don't know exactly what's going on over there. But here's what I know we definitely have the capability to do. We can go to every single one of these small business owners or any entities. We're talking about factories, you're talking about, again, restaurants, you can talking about fast food restaurants, any of these entities where they can literally say, hey, I'm going to need X amount of people to come work in my restaurant. Hey, from the agricultural department, hey, I'm going to need X amount of people to come to work this specific type of land, right? I think that wouldn't be, not only that we're solving both problems, right? There is a labor demand that can be met with a labor supply, right? Essentially, we're staffing companies effectively and efficiently, and we know who's coming in. We're tracking. We have the capability. For me, that's super important, right? That we actually have the capability. Anybody who's a goodwill, a good person that has nothing to hide will have no problems identifying themselves coming into the country. The last thing, full disclosure, the last thing I'm bringing into this conversation just because it just drives me crazy that I saw the other day Senator Chuck Schumer saying that, immigration is a good thing just because, right now the birth rate in our country is absolutely dropping.
We're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented.
I'm like, seriously? Seriously, you part of the group of people that have been doing just about everything and anything to slow down the birth rate of the country? Many of the laws that you have passed actually have something to do with the birth rate dropping in the country, and you want to replace that with immigration. And by the way, you don't want to replace it with the current, the correct type of immigration, meaning legal immigration, or make a process that would allow somebody to come into the country properly. The people that are coming through the border, they're doing it because they have no choice. If there was any other alternative, nobody would be putting themselves at risk of drowning at the border or going through a process where you're seeing children being exploited, carrying drugs, women being exposed to prostitution centers, being unfortunately raped, so abused sexually, and just about in any way that you can possibly think of.
Receiving a tip that those women were smuggled from Cuba and across the border of Mexico. They range in age from 18 to 24 years old.
Just to try to make it into the country, men that are being killed just because they are trying to defend their families or just trying to not get involved with something that would be either drug related or criminal related, and that will end up taking their life no matter what. But I do agree with the concept that we can manage population. I don't want to call it controlled population. I want to call it population management. We can decide how many people we actually have coming into the country. We can decide how many people is the right amount of people, so that based on the resources that we have available, the technology that we have available, the economy that we have available, and the ability to still produce an opportunity for many people coming into this country, we can decide what is the right amount of people to have here, so we can turn it up, we can turn it down a little bit. So, and I don't think that's a bad idea. I think this is something that should be tested. I'm looking forward, first and foremost, to hopefully somebody who's, a lot smarter than me, and somebody that will have the ability to take this message to the right people, because I think it's time. The fact of the matter is that if you don't agree on privatizing the system, I hope you agree with me that it cannot continue to be the way it is right now. It's just not working. The last thing that we can do is just to allow it to continue to be, it's a very easy political football. You know, every political party continues to play around with this thing. No solution is being provided. Is a group that is not properly represented. It's a group that's never defended about anything. By the way, don't get me wrong. I know there's some bad actors that come through the border. Whether you're pro-immigration or against immigration, if you have another suggestion or if you have a solution that you can provide us with, write it down, put it there, make a comment, let us know what would be your solution. You know, I would love to hear your feedback, whether you're pro or against it. By the way, I respect your position, regardless of what your position happens to be. I understand why you feel the way you feel right now, whether you're pro or you're against immigration, especially illegal immigration. But if you pro the idea that we need to protect our country, if you pro the idea that we need to have some good people of goodwill coming into this country, if you want to make sure that we can continue to build a kind of citizenship and community that would be a healthy type of citizen, a good citizen, a good, a very good person in our communities, I think that we need to get a handle of the situation. We need to control it. The only way I see it is by privatizing the system. Please let us know, if you agree with this, or even if you don't agree with it, I would love for you to move this video around, pass it around. Let's see what your friends or family will be thinking about it. Let's see if they agree or disagree. But I think it's time we take this topic a lot more seriously, because, like I said, it's not getting better. So if you like, the information that you're getting right now, please, just like, subscribe, allow us to continue to grow this channel, because we want to continue to bring this information. This is a very important topic among the many other things that we hope to discuss with you. Again, looking forward to hearing from you, and I appreciate you having the patience to deal through a topic that is as controversial as this one. So thank you for being with us today. Appreciate you.